Hey everyone, Kate Byers, founder of the Good Life Institute, creator of Corporate Women Unleashed. Excited to talk to you today about the good life. Do you ever wonder when it's your turn to enjoy the good life? Right? So what's the good life? I think this is a real problem because we don't really have good terms in our society to talk about what the good life is. How we define the good life and how we teach our children what the good life is you're going to go to school, get good grades, go to college, get good grades, get a job, work hard, make money, and then what? You know what I mean? Like, what's the good life? And then when we look at people that we're looking up to, they're people who have achieved things and usually sacrificed or suffered for those things in some way. I hate to say it. And I was listening to, what was I listening to the other day? But it was a prominent female like CEO, and she was talking about like the roots of her family and like good, like my family, like good Midwestern, like hardworking farm family type of a family values, work ethic. She was talking about the work ethic, and she learned this fabulous work ethic from her parents. And you never got to complain, you just sucked it up and you did it. And then you're watching this woman who's a CEO and going, oh, that's amazing. She's a CEO. Oh, this is what I have to do. I have to suck it up and just deal with it and just suffer. And we're sending these messages out into the universe that basically says like, hey, I don't want to be like you, or wow, that's what I have to do. And it's like, I was just like dying inside when I was listening to her, because I don't think that's helping future generations of women or boys to succeed in life. Okay. And so I want to sort of blow apart this whole idea that the good life is having title and money. I like titles, guys, and I like money. And I'm going to tell you right now, this message is not about to give up your title and money. I want you to keep it because I want to keep it too. I do think great amounts of freedom, opportunity, options come with a position where you have influence, which typically has some title to it and has a great paycheck attached to it, right? Because now your whole focus in life is not how do I put a loaf of bread on the table, which, most of the world is worried about. Now you have different issues that you're in front of you, and you've solved for some of those basic issues. You know how to put bread on the table, you know how to, pay the bills and things like that. So let's just say there's this piece of good life that says some of those things are solved for. We're not suffering financially. In fact, we're very blessed financially. Okay. But the good life that we're working towards is relaxation, ease, enjoyment, calm, confidence, lack of constantly, crying in your coffee going, oh my God, how am I going to get through another day? Right. And so when you think about the good life, it's, carefree time with whoever it is in your life you love, your partner, your spouse, your parents, your children, your dog, your cat, your mouse, whatever, right? And so it's really important because a lot of times when we're talking with women, especially on an initial call, if they're called to chat with us and have a breakthrough, it's like, what does the good life look like to you? What does success look like? And it's like, I don't know. And they'll say things like, I would be present. I would be able to disconnect from stress, and I get that, but I'm like, what's the good life really? And so you have to have a really good vision of that. Otherwise, what are you looking for? You're just looking for calm. You're looking for the opposite of what you have, which is you have stress, you have chaos, you're exhausted, you're missing out on time with, the things that are precious. And so what the good life really is, it's being able to provide for the opportunities of life, right? So there's a financial piece, some financial abundance. There's abundance in there. There's influence. So you're not just coming in every day to work and asking your boss, what do I do today? What widget do you want me to move around? So there's some autonomy that comes with your position. True. Okay. So there's some financial abundance. There's some autonomy to call some sort of shots. There's always someone that we are accountable to, whether it's a customer, a client, the board of directors, the shareholders, whatever. But you get what I'm saying. There's some autonomy there. And then there is some ability to connect with the things that you care about in an intentional and deeper way. Let's just leave it at that, because everyone's going to have different things. Some of you guys are, I don't know, married with 12 children, and some of you are single and hoping to get married someday. And some of you are, I don't know, whatever, have like ailing parents that you really want to spend more time with for the amount of time they have in this world. Some of you may just love rescuing dogs or cats, or I don't know, whatever. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, everyone's going to have something different that's precious to them. It might just be like alone time where you really just love reading an amazing novel. Like, do you remember? Like, I used to have this fascination with Russian literature, and it was like, but it would take me a minute to get in the zone to read the Russian literature. I can't just read it while stirring a pot on the stove and like chatting with my husband. You know what I mean? If I'm going to read Russian literature, like, I want to be in my zone to do it. So there's all these things that are precious to us that we think we're going to get once we arrive at the good life. Again, this sort of like place of nirvana, like, what does it look like? And so I want you guys to have a really good vision of what it looks like. To me, I want some financial abundance, really, really do, because I like to have options, and I like to create opportunity for myself, my family, and other people in our life. I like the autonomy of being in a place where I can create. I can work with people who are like-minded. I can have some say in what's going on as far as the work I'm doing. Okay, so let's leave it at that. I don't think there's a certain title that says that. There's a lot of different things. And then I want to do the things that matter to me, right? That really, really matter to me, and do them in a way that's intentional, do them to the depth of where I'm actually enjoying them. Like, okay, I have children. I don't know if you do, but great. Like, now I have kids. I don't want to just like pat them on the head and be like, oh, great, I have a kid. I don't want to just acquire a kid, like checking off a box. Like, I want to read to my children. I want to remember what I'm reading. I want to discuss the story the next day because I was fresh enough when I was reading it that I'm like, oh yeah, that was a great book. Not like, do you guys ever do that? Like, you just read a book to your kid at night and you're just like reading it, and somehow you read it and you weren't even there. Like, you don't even know what you said. And then the next day your kids are like, oh my gosh, mommy, that was so cool when the monster in the story last night said the word green. And you're like, oh my God, I have no idea what that is even about, right? Because you weren't present, right? So I want to be present in my life, right? And I also want to have some time to read Russian literature or whatever, chat with my neighbor across the street because she's this really cool executive chick like me. And we can just talk in our front yard without being like, I kind of got to go because I got a million things to do. Like, live your life, be in it, enjoy it, experience it. And then, God forbid, maybe even stretch yourself into new opportunities, whether those new opportunities are professional or something in your personal life. Like, maybe you want to learn to bungee jump or fly an airplane or travel to Zimbabwe. I don't know. Like, that's what we're kind of talking about when it comes to a good life, right? And so when is it your chance to enjoy the good life? I must have asked that question of myself 7 million billion times in my career, because I was constantly hoofing it to be successful. And the more successful I got, the more I was constantly hoofing it to be successful. And the more successful I got, the more I was constantly hoofing it to just hold on to my success and all that, right? And so the time to enjoy the good life is right now, okay? So the good life is not elusive. It is not something that you have to wait until retirement. I know your baby boomer father and mother told you that. They told me that too. Good for them, not for our generation, okay? There's no glorious golf course that's waiting for you when you're 55. My mom passed away from cancer when she was 57. Just saying, you know what I mean? She sacrificed her whole life to get, 2 good years of retirement? And did you even know this, ladies, that the retirement age isn't 55 anymore? I know, shocking. It used to be. What's retirement age now? My God, it's like 65 or later. I mean, do you see what I'm saying? Like, the measuring stick for the good life just keeps moving. So you might as well get it now. So that was really what I was out to discover once I burned out. I was like, I am done. And I'm going to live a good life now because my mom only made it to 57. And if I only make it to 57, I had a colleague who died 2 or 3 years ago at 51. I mean, ladies, I'm 51 right now. I don't want to wait for the good life. And so that's what I really set out to find when I was in my 30s. Now, the original way I did it was I just let go of my career and I was like, well, I'm just going to live a simple life and that'll be good. Yeah, not so much, because those things that I just described for me, that means the good life, some sort of financial abundance. So I have options. I don't like cutting coupons. I don't like living on a budget. I don't mean that I'm, what do I want to say? Wasteful with my money. Not at all. I try to be very thoughtful about where I invest my money, but having some financial abundance, having some autonomy. You don't have a lot of autonomy when you're living the simple life. Okay. Right. There's a lot more structure to make that type of life work. And then to be able to do things with a lot of intention. And really steep myself in the things that are precious to me. That's what I say the good life is. And so that's what I was looking for. And I didn't find it living on an island. I didn't find it when I came back from the island and spent 2 more years not wanting to go back into the corporate world because I was terrified. I was so burnt out that I was going to be strung out again. I didn't find it there. In fact, the simple life sucked because I didn't have autonomy. I didn't have financial abundance. And a lot of the things that I wanted to do that were precious to me, I couldn't afford to do now. You know what I mean? Or I wasn't able to do them to the ability I wanted to because now I was constantly worried about all these other things. It was like, oh my God. So my point being, guys, is that it's not about needing more time. It's not about retiring on a golf course when you're 55, 65. It's not about giving up your huge career. It's about understanding what the good life is and how to start incorporating that into working in a different way so you can have the financial abundance and you can have the enough of a title to have some autonomy. Okay. Whatever that is for you. You could be a CEO, you could be a senior manager, whatever. And then learning that you don't have to have it all or nothing, because typically what we do as high achievers and as women who are successful is we're going to put our work first, and that's going to be the priority. And then there's going to be a little bit of life, and then we're going to go back to work and put work first. And then there's going to be 30 minutes of life. And then we're going to go back to work and do all this work. And so what's happening is we're constantly putting off all this good stuff that we said that we wanted, which is that richness of life that gives it dimension, that makes it feel good, that brings you joy and satisfaction and contentment. Reading that amazing Russian novel, sleeping in every now and then instead of waking up to your friggin' alarm. Reading your child a story when you're fresh and you can remember what you're reading and you can actually discuss it with them the next day because you were actually present, or just laying in the backyard with your kids and watching holding hands with your love and watching the butterflies, on like, we've got hummingbirds in our backyard. I love them. I'm like, honey, the hummingbirds are out. My husband's like, okay. We run out in the backyard and hold hands and watch hummingbirds. And he's just like, okay, whatever. Like that's what life's about, right? Not just like hoofing it to the next deadline and the next fire that's in front of you. And so it's learning to incorporate this richness of life into this thing that's taking up and sucking your life dry, which is your career. And so one of the things that really my husband discovered, I would love to take credit, I can't, it was him, is he was approaching this whole conundrum of like, how do I have a great life? Because he was disillusioned as well. He was like, all I do is go to work all day, have to do a bunch of business deals on the golf course with people I don't even really like half the time. And then I come home and I eat dinner and I work out and I go to bed and I get up all over again and do it the same. Like this isn't like, this isn't very interesting to me. And so he wasn't burnt out in a way that I was, like just working his butt off, but he was like, just disillusioned. He's like, this is all there is. Like, this is what I've been working towards. Like, this just sucks. And so what he really discovered through his research and philosophy and development was that, we actually can biologically get our needs met and feel more fulfilled and have more freedom and be able to delve in deeper to these multi-dimensional, yummy things that we want to do while we still have all this other crazy stuff called this big career. And he was like, we just need to learn what that stuff is that's actually going to make us feel good. Like, for example, this has happened to me before. Like my husband has said to me, like, hey babe, I'll take the kids on Saturday if you want to get caught up on work and we'll just go to the park and, get out of your hair. And I'll be like, no, don't do that. I feel bad. I feel guilty. I shouldn't be working on a Saturday. I should be with you. You know what I mean? And then I'll tell him, no, it's okay, honey. No, you don't need to do that. Thanks very much. And I won't work. And I'll stay home with the kids. And then the whole time I'm like fighting with the kids. I'm yelling at the kids. They're in my hair. They're irritating me. Instead of like playing ball with them or, doing something fun, they're watching TV and I'm making peanut butter sandwiches and being like the Wicked Witch of the West. Y'all ever done that? And you're like, what the hell? And then my husband's like, why did you let me take them? You obviously don't have your head in the mothering game. And then I'm like, ah. And so that's a perfect example of where, if you understand your needs and you understand how to get your needs met, you wouldn't make that decision. And so now I understand that. And so now when he says, hey, I'll take the kids on Saturday and you can work, now I'm able to check in with my needs and go, okay, what do I really need? Do I need to work? I might have a compulsion to work. That's not a need. Okay. So I might have this emotional attachment to my work that says I want to work, but is that what I need? Or do I really need connection with my boys? Do I need autonomy to get my work done? Which of the needs do I need, right? Which of the needs are knocking at my door to be met? And if I can meet the correct one, I will feel fulfilled, excited, engaged, refreshed, content, joy. If I pick the wrong one, I am going to be the wicked witch of the West who yells at her kids. And then why didn't I work anyways, right? And so when you learn to tap into this and you understand your biology and what your biology is asking you to do at different points during the day and during the week and during the month and during the year, now all of a sudden you can start actually making choices that will give you that, instead of let me get all my work done, then let me have all the time in the world, and then let me hope that when I do something with that time, it'll actually be enjoyable and refreshing. And then, just like in my example, a lot of times we're not choosing the things that are actually going to refresh us. Have you ever gone out for wine night with the girls or gone to the spa and it was supposed to make you feel better and instead you feel crummier? And instead the whole time you're just annoyed and you're like, God, I wish these women would shut up. I just got other things I want to be doing. Because what you really needed was to be at home reading book in your jammies. What you really needed was autonomy and being alone and getting in flow. But instead you chose to socialize and meet your connection need with your girlfriends. Ugh. And so what happens a lot is then we go back to, well, I just need to have a job where I only work 40 hours a week so I can fit all this in. No, you don't. You need to choose better. You need to learn how to make better choices. And when my husband discovered this, it was like this massive light bulb went on for us. Well, it took us a while to figure it out and dial it in. But as we got better at it, we started going like, oh my God, we're so much happier. Oh my gosh, we're so much more stress-free. And it wasn't even like a light switch. It was more like over time, we just became more content, more happy, more calm. Our jobs hadn't changed. There was still crazy cray in our jobs, right? There was still babies that had to be raised and the exhaustion of like being all up all night with a child. There was still, I don't know, whatever, the water pump goes out or the heater goes out and all the junk, that you got to deal with. But it was like, we just weren't really bothered by that stuff anymore. We just dealt with it. Why? Because we were more content. We were more fulfilled. Our needs were getting met because we were making better choices. And this is how you end up working a 78-hour week and going, oh my God, that wasn't so bad. Now, again, I'm not advocating for 70, 80-hour work weeks, guys. I think we all need to take breaks and we need to know how to refresh ourselves. But what I'm saying is the answer isn't working a 40-hour week or a 20-hour week or a 10-hour week. We've had women who've come to me, they're like, Kate, from now on, I'm not working more than 30 hours a week and I want you to show me how. And I'm like, okay, fine. Great, let's do it. And then they come in and then they're like, wait a minute. It wasn't about the 30-hour work week. It was teaching them how to better meet their needs and make choices that actually fulfilled them. And again, back to the Saturday example I gave you with the kids, right? There may be some Saturdays I really need to work. Got to tuck in for work. Please take the kids out of the house for a few hours. And that is what I needed. Or maybe I'm like, you know what? I do want you to take the kids out of the house. Thanks. But I don't work. I go and read that great, Russian literature book I always talk about. Or maybe it's like, no, you know what, babe, thank you so much for offering to take the boys out of the house. I really miss them and I need that time with them right now. And then when you're able to consciously make that decision because you're meeting the correct need, then even though you have work that needs to be done, even though you want to read the Russian novel, even though your email box is filling up, you're like, no, this is where I need to be. I'm fully in it. And then you come out of that experience and that choice feeling so great that then you can go, knock out the email box, read the Russian novel, or, whatever I'm saying much more effectively. Does that make sense? And so that is like really, really key to avoiding burnout, but it's also the key to having the good life. The good life is happening right now. It's making choices that give you that instead of thinking the good life's coming in retirement, or thinking that you got to quit your job or work 40 hours a week or something to have it. It's here. It is you. You've got it. It's right here. So go start doing it. If you want to know more how, then I offer, we've got some more additional training that you're welcome to register for. Just go ahead. We'll link it in the comments below, but register for that. And I go more into needs and like really what Scott discovered and what we teach. And so check that out and see how you can start applying that to your life today. And if you are a successful woman, I really suggest that check that out and potentially book a call with us, because once you learn how to do this and we can teach you how, life gets really fun, right? You don't have to change your job. You don't have to step back. You don't have to give up your income. And if anything, as successful women, we need to be working together, like a lot of us will join, like a club of business women, but is that club of business women, are they really talking about what's important, to you now, which is quality of life, avoiding burnout, managing a big, huge job in such a way that you can have an incredible, incredible good life that you enjoy. That's what I want for all of you. Cool.